Fuck, this is earlier than I thought it was gonna be. I didn't have time to eat yet. Plans for core character defenses and recovery. I'm not awake yet, man. This sucks. Top 10k streamer? Fuck yeah, that's me. A major balance pass to improve defenses and recovery for all characters. Improve recovery and defenses for all characters. Okay, interesting, because... So is fortified not being removed from half the characters of the game? Let's find out. Put more power onto the core defenses, armor evasion, and the S. Make them the best way to mitigate because damage they wish to preventing. Yada yada yada. While taking some of that power away from one-off mechanics to provide a significant defense for too low a cost. Okay, so they're going to try to remove Fortify from things like Shield Charge, where it's like one link free. And then they're going to make these things better. I wonder if this is going to make Molten Shell absurd. This is going to be interesting. While some individual mechanics have been nerfed, this is overall a massive buff to defenses across the board. I'm a little concerned. Previously, there were some rotating characters that were gated behind specific niche mechanics and uniques that were not accessible to everyone. What we're doing here is moving a lot of that power to everyone else. So this means glancing, it's on the skill tree, everyone can get it, it's buffed for sure. And then things like Zabakwa are not going to get buffed, yep. Fortify nerfed. Okay. So spell suppression is evading spells. There's no way it's evading spells. It has to be DR. Dodge and blind provide more mitigation for fewer pressure points than item slots than any other defense type. True? This is not true at all. Unless you're only talking about evasion in the sense of like no blind, no raider evasion. Overarching goal, remove dodge entirely. Interesting. Interview certain powerful mechanics like blind, yep. Fortify for not melee. Yeah, I mean blind is absurd. Blind's been absurd for forever. Improve almost every other scalable defense type, significantly make them more powerful. Dude, wait, and spell block? Interesting. I feel, dude, there's no fucking way they're gonna pull this off. I don't believe it. And this doesn't mean they're removing dodge currently, right? Or is, we'll see. Armor has, of course, doesn't provide sufficient defensive low to medium investment. Yep. Armor is instead allowed a number of other mechanics, like Molten Shell. Like, the only reason armor is a stat that is relevant at all in the game is Molten Shell. So they're going to improve the armor formula again. And they're going to make it so you get more armor more easily, which makes Molten Shell even more insane. Wow, that's a massive number buff. 10k armor, now 33% Phys instead of 20. That's fucking large. It used to be 8 times, right? Wait, whoa, wasn't it 8 times? I thought it was 10 times back in like 2018, and then they modified it to 8 times in like 2019. Maybe it was 10. Either way, armor way fucking better. And if they don't nerf Molten Shell to compensate for the increase to armor, like Molten Shells are going to be fat again. And I mean, fat Molten Shells feel really good to play with. 5 times the armor. Dude, 25k armor is super easy to get. Like, that armor is actually going to be nuts. And like, armor already was pretty nuts if you could get enough of it. The problem was only 2 classes or ascendancies could actually get enough armor. So that's what this is aiming to do. Like, if you weren't a champion or a juggernaut, I guess kind of berserker if you have the 5 paint stacks. But like, if you weren't like those 2, you just didn't have enough armor. I guess like, dude, the shield builds are gonna be nuts. Alrighty. Add base local armors. That's plus flat armor. They made that number higher. Some impression of tiers. Yeah, the way armor and accuracy work on gear is really weird. It goes from like it goes from like, there's like 6 tiers that are all below 130, and then one tier is like 130 to 340, and then it's like then like 340 to 400. Like, it goes so fast over like 2 tiers, like 120 to 400 over 2 tiers. So So we'll zone items with higher armor on them. I mean that's gonna make Molten Shell builds so strong. Armor provided by bases can now be up to 10% higher, so they're making bases stronger. Wait, the determination's gonna give flat and more? Oh fuck. That is a lot of defense. Like that's gonna be a fat Molten Shells. But also determination's like a 50% aura. Like it's so hard to run a 50% defensive aura. Like it's so hard to do that because you're gonna lose damn. However, there is one build that I am planning to play, I think, that I could do that on. I think. I have to double check. New suffix modifiers have been added to all armor, base, body armor, and shields, about 8% physical direction. Interesting. Okay, so it's armor base only. I wonder if this means armor base hybrid as well. And I wonder if this is going to have the defense tag or not. This mod having the defense tag is always a coin flip. But I hope it doesn't brick armor ES Crusader shields. Or Shaper shields for rolling ES on block. Added Phys damage reduction mods. Additional Phys damage mods were distinguished from all other area modifiers. Okay, so they removed all the other ones. Increase life regeneration rate, not recovery rate. Get fucked, Karn. One sec, I need to close my door. Interesting. Righteous Fire. So, increase life regeneration rate. It multiplies your life regen value. This should get duplicated by Inquisitor. Because life recovery rate does not. But this should, I think, get duplicated by Inquisitor. Because I think it's going to just multiply your number. So, Inquisitor is going to have the option to get really fucking high regen on RF Inquisitor. I did make an RF Inquisitor PUB yesterday, and it doesn't look like shit. The problem was in like 2017, I vowed to never play RF ever again. And I don't know if I can go back on that. We'll see. Review monster base armor as a result. Oh, no. They need to not fuck this up. For minion builds. Dude, Fizz minion builds are so fucked right now. Like, if you play Fizz Syndicate Operatives, if you don't have Poacher's Mark on the target, they have 20% DR when you're doing 5 million DPS. Because they attack like so fast and have so many hits. Like, armor on monsters is a shit mechanic, it shouldn't exist. Or there needs to be a way to give minions Fizz Pin. Because like they added all these Fizz Pin nodes to the tree when they buffed monster armor for players, for our attacks, but Fizz minions are just fucked. Evasion doesn't provide significant defense, but encourages unsettling acrobatics and phase acro. Unless you're a raider with blind and 5k evasion, in which case you have 95 evasion and only 50 spell or attack dodge. Like evasion was way better than dodge. It wasn't even close. Like dodge was letting you avoid about 1 in every like 2.5 hits. No, sorry. 2 in every 2.5 hits. Evasion was letting you avoid 1 in every 20. Or sorry, avoid 19 of every 20. So it was a little I guess it's like Raider only though. Like this is true. Evasion is a dog shit stat unless you're either Raider or you have blind. And if you have those things, then it's good. But the way to fix that is to change Evasion's formula, probably. Alright. For the formula to grant more chance to evade at all values. I don't like that they included tier 1, I don't want to read that. Yeah, that's a pretty massive change to the formula right here. from 49k, which is unrealistic pretty much always, to 24. I think Tricksters with Flash up, like CI Tricksters with Flash up, hit 24, I think. Yeah, it's really interesting. But Raider stonks are gone. You know how Inquisitor was like trending upwards? Raider is like not even trending downwards. If you make base evasion good and remove attack dodge, like Raider's entire niche was that. It's like they're just fucked, which is fine, but also not really. I like playing Raider; it's fun. Buy Raider, yep. Buy Raider. Hope you. Let's just make sure whatever build you're playing it has shield charge, and then you'll be fine. Oh, God, that's so nice. Even I mean, it's not that big of a change, like 4,500 to 2033, but like this is like if you have no evasion and you just have like a Jade Flask of reflexes, like 25%. It's so nice. Porcupines are gonna be way easier to survive. I swear to God, if I see any dumbass motherfuckers complaining that porcupines are still dangerous after this, I'm gonna be really upset. Like, literally, just use a fucking Jade Flask. It's so simple. Increase one person gear that add base local evasion. Same as the armor change. The problem is evasion. Like, evasion is a prefix, which means anytime you choose to have one of your slots on your items be evasion, it's if it's a chest, it's not avoid ailments, it's not percent life, it's not flat life, it's not Fizz taken as X, it's not spell dodge, it's not nearby enemies are blinded. There's so many good prefixes. And anytime you choose to have evasion instead of one of those, like there's a lot of cost to that. Whereas armor has the same problems with cost, but they get a fat Molten Shell, which equates to life, assuming you die through Molten Shell instead of dying without Molten Shell. So it's still like, unless you're like a Trickster, like actually having evasion rolls on your gear is gonna be weird. But Trickster for sure. Trickster value is going up. Yeah, the helm is definitely a good slot for evasion. I mean, if you just are wearing evasion bases and on the right side of the tree, and you use a Jade Flask for reflexes, you're already gonna be like 10k, which is in T16 monsters like decent evasion. And then if you have blind as well, instead of being at 50, you're at like 75. Pretty solid. Mr. Dot. I still don't know if I'd play Trickster over Occultist or Cold Dot. Maybe. The problem is Trickster is like so much less damage. Like the main perk of Occultist over Trickster was way easier access to ailment immunity and stun immunity, and way more damage. You want to ignite Trickster? Yeah, fucking good luck, dude. All right. So Grace is yeah, basically they buff Grace. Reworked evasion passives. I wonder what that means. There kind of aren't evasion passives. They don't exist, right? Like you have evasion life ranger start, evasion life revenge of the hunted, and like an evasion wheel that no one takes. Survivalists, like no one really takes that except like while leveling to get resist capped. We'll see about that. Just a monster base evasion and minute accuracy to compensate. I think that means they're lowering monster base evasion or buffing minion accuracy. I'm not. I think that's what that means. Evasion provides no defense against spells. Yep. Introduce spell suppression on evasion items as well as the dexterity section of the passive tree, which is a chance to have spell damage taken. The chance can be stacked to 100%. They're buffing glancing as well to go to 100%, right? No way. It's probably going to be insanely hard to get that though. Specialized ways to invest, yada yada yada. Found on various pest trees in the evasion skill tree. The evasion build at the center of the tree no longer provides accuracy, but provides a combo evasion and chance to suppress spells. Fuck, dude, I need this new tree. I need this new tree now. It's like, that's disgusting. Like, that's actual disgusting defense, because almost every single hard in-game boss fight is spells. Almost all of them. There's like, it's disgusting. Nice. So suppresses a suffix. That's really huge. Magebane. Dexterity provides no inherent bonus to evasion rating. You gain a 1% chance to suppress spell damage per 15 dex. What's that on average? Like 20%? That's pretty decent. Valgrace no longer has a chance to dodge attack spell hits, instead it gains plus chance to evasion, and suppress spell damage dealt to you is unlucky. So plus 15 evasion is really good if you already have some investment in evasion. Because if you're chilling with like 80 evasion, this puts you at 95. It reduces the amount of hits you take by 75%. But if you have very low investment in evasion, this is dog shit. So that's good. Because like right now in Valgrace, you can just slam it on literally any build and it's always good. Whereas this version of Valgrace, you have to actually be invested into the things that it provides to be good. This is worthless, in my opinion. Like, if you're already suppressing the spell damage, it's already doing half damage. It doesn't matter if you change the damage range to be like another 8% reduction. It's already doing half damage, you're already going to survive. Probably. Like, if you're mitigating a hit by half and you still die, you deserve to be dead. Don't press Valgrace to try to survive that. Just die. Accept your fate. Additional chance to evade modifiers were discontinued from all rare modifiers. Oh. Fair enough. Like, this is probably necessary. This stuff was never used because nobody cared about defense, but this stuff was very powerful. It was very powerful. Like, Garukon plus 5 evade after Savage Hit could pretty commonly be taking your evade from like 80 to 85, which is literally the same as 25 dodge. But Valgrace being this high probably means on most evasion stuff. If you have Valgrace up, you're going to be captivated. Change elusive. I mean, I guess they had to because they removed attack dodge, but chance to avoid damage is like... Chance to avoid is really good in Gauntlet. When all fizz damage also does fire, cold, and lightning. So I think it rolls individually for each damage type. I think. Because like down here you have like 5 of each. But maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure. I need to figure that out. But if it does roll separately for every single damage type, because the way it reads in your defense tab is it'll have 3 different lines that say, you know, 5 chance to avoid fire, 5 to avoid cold, 5 to avoid lightning. So I'm not entirely certain how it would work, but if it does roll separately, it's actually pretty good. Change Wind Dancer to further improve high evasion builds rather than reducing evade chance, but making it riskier if you're not evading attacks a lot. It now gives less attack damage taken. You haven't been hit by an attack recently, and more evasion rating and attack damage taken if you have been hit. Okay, so Wind Dancer it's worthless. Garbage. I mean, it already, like, I didn't really care about Wind Dancer on most builds that much. There's never a scenario on any character where I would ever take this now. Acro's been redesigned. It no longer has any of its old properties. Holy fuck, they finally killed Acro. It's been 10 years. I see the numbers. Yeah, I mean, if this more attack damage taken is like 5 and this is like 20, then maybe. But we'll see. Acro has been redesigned. No longer has any of its old properties. Now changes any modifiers to spell suppression into spell dodge. The intention is that Acro is the only source in the entire game for spell dodge. Holy fuck. Acro is also gone from the game. You would never take Acro. There's never a scenario when you would ever take Acro. That's dumb as fuck, right? It's literally always bad. Like right now in the game, let's ignore the fact that to get 75 spell dodge, you have to get 200 suppress, right? No, sorry, 150 suppress. You have to get a fuck ton of suppress. So you have to invest way more. And like right now, just say right now, you have the choice, take half damage or avoid 75% of hits. Literally every player in the game that has a brain would choose to take half damage. It's just better. This was a spell dodge. Well, right here it says, the intention is that Acro is the only source in the entire game for spell dodge. Which means things like plus spell dodge craft on chest, the dex, boots, or at Zeri step, that kind of stuff. They're probably going to change those to be suppressed instead. 2050 dex stacker. I mean, yeah, if you're playing like some 3K, like life softcore build, like sure, do whatever the fuck you want. But like I'm talking about actual, like the actual game. But yeah, just like raw 50% DR is so fucking good. Because that's the thing with evasion. Like on every character where you had cap, spell dodge, and huge evasion, at least in the card I found, you still had to get 8k life. Because sometimes you get hit. With this, it's no longer RNG defense, it's actual defense. So you can get away with lower health numbers because you have actual defense for once. Like, that's gonna be fucking massive. Like, it will mean you take more damage on average from certain mechanics. Like, if you walk into, like, a room of Spark Mages or something, I'd rather be Old Raider with cap spell dodge than new, 100% spell suppression. But either way, you're not gonna die. Like, if you're taking half damage, like, you're not gonna die. Due to armor evasion not working effectively is due to fucking this suppressed stuff sounds like it's gonna be so busted. I can't wait. Due to armor and evasion not working effectively as primary defense previously, we introduced a lot of mechanics over the years that either scale them too efficiently or scale off them too efficiently. This is the part where they nerf Molten Shell. The intention would be that for where we get armor evasion on your items is the best way to maximize its efficacy. They're gonna have to fucking nuke Molten Shell from orbit to actually like make it bad because it's so good. It's like by far the best guard skill if you have any armor. Let's see it. Val Molten Shell now provides plus armor. Don't care about that. Plus armor, yep. So that doesn't matter at all. Now grants 35% of damage from hits at level 1 up to 40% level 20. Oh, so it scales with levels now. So they buff Val Molten Shell. It gives less armor, but like no one gave a fuck about the armor that Val Molten Shell gave. This is a buff. I don't think this is a big enough buff that I would actually level it to 20 though. Would I? Like, I don't think so. Because currently you play 1 casting damage taken and 10 Val Molten Shell. Like level 1 is 35%, level 10 is probably 37%. So like you just play level 1 CODT, level 35, which is really good because the problem with Val Molten Shell in the past is that it was literally impossible to ever survive and burn through your entire Val Molten Shell. Like you would just die with Val Molten Shell still up because 30% DR is not that much. But 37, 40, that's good. Brass Dome being redesigned. So they're removing it from the game? The way I read that is they're removing it from the game. Bye, Memory Vault. Bye! I guess if you're running Determination or like in like a Granite Flask and you have like a lot of flat armor, like that much percent increased armor could be good, but at least in current PoE, flat armor is like way better. Yeah, fuck memory vault anyways. Oh, they nerfed these two as well by overcapped instead of uncapped, which means it's just 75% reduction. It doesn't really matter. They nerfed the crab chest. Transcendence Keystone provides now grants a larger penalty to all maximum elemental resistances. Dude, Transcendence was already a dogshit keystone. Bye. Oh, my anime guardian. When it's supposed to buff defenses, defenses are buffed over. So if you read the top, the goal is to nerf defenses that come from things that are really hard to acquire, and buff defenses as a baseline. So armor, evasion are way better. If you can get like moderate, easy access to 100% spell suppression, that is way fucking better than anything else that's currently in the game. But then they're nerfing things that are like require huge investment to actually get value out of, to make defense not like a super in-game thing to get like a good level. Like Transcendence, if you actually have huge investment into it, is still going to be good. The problem with Transcendence is like it requires so much investment to the point that like there's not that much content in the game where you actually need that kind of defense. Like the investment required to make this actually good is just, you could just invest into like a different source of defense and get enough defense, because there is such thing as too much defense. Well, the main thing is, for most players, defense is not a fun thing to solve. It's like, by grinding content and getting better gear, you want to do more damage and go faster. And having easier access to defense means that more builds can reach the threshold of defense that is good enough, so they can focus on doing big damn. Alright. Yeah, they did still nerf Raiders thing from 35 to 10. I thought 35 to 20 might happen. They went 35 to 10. But the overall buffs to base evasion mean that like you can still get good evasion. I just like Raider is no longer gonna be just like by far the tankiest Ascensi in the game. But evasion is stronger? Yeah, like the actual defense loss of this going from this patch to next patch is probably not gonna be that big because of the evasion buffs. But the relative power of Raider compared to everything else is a little bit, you know, a little more fair. Because it wasn't before. Like Raiders' defense was fucking absurd. They did the same change to this. What is Willow Gift? That's not an item in the game. I'm afraid to Google that. I'm gonna like 1 sec. Oh, this thing. What'd they do? Yep. Still dog shit. Like what? Per fortification, yeah. That sounds like the goal is to make it so you can't just get fortified and it's 20% DR for 20 seconds with like Vigilant Strike, or 8 seconds with like 1 shield charge, and instead you're gonna have to be like constantly attacking with Fortify to get fortification stacks to have DR, which probably means Champion's thing is gonna be like, I mean I assume there's more info on that like down below, so I don't need to speculate. Characters with Assaulting Armor are not protected against elemental damage. False. Molten Shell. 10k Molten Shell. All I need, baby. Let's get it. That's an interesting way to do it. Because like max resist is a really it's a really dangerous stat. Because if you have too easy access to it, it's like really fucking overpowered. I'm surprised they didn't go with like less damage taken from like Fire Cold Lightning. We'll see how this goes. But I mean, obviously this is going to be great for defense for these kind of characters, except for tanking Shaper Balls. There's not very many sources of pen in the game though. It's like Delve, the Shaper Balls, and like some small things. And more information later. I need this new passagery now. There's so much new stuff. The modifier that increases quality on equipment was required to maximize the energy shift from items. This is a problem because you cannot pick up those energy items off the ground. But you can craft this item on. Second problem, stacking energy from not was too efficient. No, my CI builds! They're nerfing my CI builds! Replace the spell modifier and lower the power of energy from not. Compensate all characters' loss of maximum energy shield by increasing the strength of all energy shield base types. Add more energy shield to the passagery. This one is interesting because if you look at like ES nodes in the passagery, like there's shit everywhere. If you want to hit 400% ES, you can do that. So I wonder what that's going to be. Energy shield base types can be up to 20% higher. They included this text earlier as well. I really want to know what this is going to mean. The value card modifier that provides quality and certain intelligence no longer provides quality. Wait, what? It just fuck it, dude. In case you needed more chance to avoid. Here it is. Have some more. Just put it on whatever item you want. Dude, they really fuck me, dude. I mean that's fantastic. So, like just fuck ailments, right? Just craft the shit on your gear. It's great. It's great. That definitely, that's nice. Nice. Removing the quality though, I mean, this is the only nerf SSD's gonna get this patch, right? I'm not just moving ailments from the game because this is like a much better way of going about it. Like giving up like 5 crafts in your gear to get avoiding ailments, it's like that's opportunity cost to solve a problem, and based on you as a player, you might think that's worth it and you might not. Like even something as simple as like getting a void freeze on your gear so that you don't have to run Brine King anymore, so that you can run Lunaris instead, is like a pretty huge defensive increase. And based on the player, you're going to choose the level of investment you want to do into getting your avoid ailments so that you maximize the other stats as well. Oh, no ads? Alright, I'll stall for a bit. Y'all done yet? Y'all should be done by now. Alright, with the desire to increase armor evasion and energy shield power across the board, we felt that base values on items were too low. Additionally, we felt that our item system needs more base type heterogeneity. That's spelled right? E-I-T-Y? That looks wrong to me. Doesn't matter though. Base types now are now generated with a random 0 to 10% higher base defenses, and you cannot modify it. Because all base types can be better than they currently are. Energy values instead vary from 0 to 20. Does this include unique items? Like 20% shavs is gonna be that good shit? I mean, I assume you'll be able to filter for that, and then you just only show the bases that have higher numbers. Energy Shield is most often used with Legion regeneration like life, rather than embracing its unique mechanic. No shit. Have you looked at the nodes in the tree? Look at this. You throw it up here, you spec this one node, and it's like all the leech you could ever need. And you have such a fat pool of ES. Because instead of having like 8k life, you have like 12k ES. Which means the leech is even more effective. Increased base recovery rate of energy shield recharge, rework the downside of the Wicked Keystone. Improvements to energy shield recharge to the core modifier pool for energy shield gear. Okay, I don't really care about recharge at all.
Did you know Twitch Prime supports the streamer, gives you these dope emotes, Lighty Chaos Face,
Did they
free viewing, oh and
they removed the leech penalty entirely, and they lowered the penalty of recharge of Wicked Ward. The thing is, like, fuck recharge. Like, if you're ever in a scenario when you're like, oh man, I have low ES, my recharge is gonna start soon though. Like, no. Fuck no. That's not a thing, you're logging out. It makes about this one better though. But like Leech is just better. Like Leech is so good. Oh, this is fucking scary. That's gonna have a defense tag. But also that number is huge. Isn't the current number on rings like 20%? Like, you can probably get your ES to recharge like within a second of taking damage. Yeah, maybe I do care about recharge. Yeah, shit, maybe I do. Wait, is recharge good? Is recharge good? But this being a suffix modifier, I'm gonna say like 90%. Actually, I can just check, right? Craft of Exile, jewelry, faster. It does have a defense tag. This means that you can no longer force ES on block on shields. On Shaper shields with metacrafting. Crafted an info. Oh, they just rid of rings entirely. Okay. They added more sources of this. You can't do suffixes first. Yeah, but like ideally you would get like a 400 ES shield and then force the suffix on it. If you do suffix first, like getting a really good shield after that is gonna be hard. But also, it's probably gonna be like a 1 and 2 or a 1 and 3. So instead of spending 2x for it, you're gonna spend like 4x for it, and it's fine. Or 6 or 8. This is good though, because I wanted to put CI builds for a while. That's me at 1 and 10? There's no way. Oh, 4 tiers? Yeah, good point. I think Shaper ES on block, I think it's 800 weighting? I think. Can't level CI? No. You swap like level 90 or so. Yeah, it's 800. It's probably going to be like 500 weighting per tier of faster start or something. So it'd be like 800 out of like 2800 or something like that. I just think they overbuff ES a little bit because they want players to stop complaining about dying to one-shots when they don't build defense. That's why across the board, like it says right at the start, somewhere up here, it's like we're nerfing like forms of defense that, where is it? We're nerfing powerful one-off mechanics that provide a significant defense boost, like they require investment, like fucking Timeless Jewels and Fortify and stuff, and just buffing base stats on gear, because everybody has base stats on gear, not everybody bothers to actually use the other investment things. So this makes every character that is like dog shit tankier. And also, if you want to invest into these new forms of defense, you'll also still be tankier. Like, player defense is going to be pretty nuts. Where was I on this? New sex modifiers have been added to all Energy Shield based gloves, helmet, and boots. They provide increased recharge rate. I don't think I care about recharge rate that much. It's like kind of good, I guess, but. Gonna try and take a Magebane Dexterity next league. It's not actually. Yeah, it's not that hard to do. It depends how much you want to invest into it. Recharge is 33. Yeah, but if you're worrying about recharge, you're gonna have Wicked Ward spec, which makes it 40% less, right? So if you have a 100% increase rate and 40% less, you're sitting at like 40% per second recharge. It just depends how fast you make the recharge start. Like, Maven balls hit you like 400 milliseconds apart. Like, can I get it that fast? We'll see. Yeah, the whole you still get leech with Wicked Ward, that's huge. Like, CI region's gonna be nuts. Maven Explosion is pure LE? Yes. Maven Explosion does all 3 types of damage. No pen. No fizz. Oh. Never mind, you don't get leech. I mean, you kind of get leech, but like, not really. If you go Ghost Reaver, you cannot recharge, yes. So like, the thing is, like, if you don't have Ghost Reaver, ES Leech is 10% a second. So then if you had like, you know, just like one ES Leech cluster, you'd be at like 12%. So like, are you really gonna go for recharge instead of just doubling your ES Leech? For me, probably literally never. The only time I would really want to invest into faster start of recharge is if I was playing like Cold Dot. If you're playing a hit-based build that can leech, I think leech is still better always. But if you're playing a build that cannot leech, then the recharge changes are pretty cool. And they buff this. But that's, nah. That's too hard to get. Tricking it with Frost Shield. How does that work? You just step in, step out? Just so your ES isn't capped? Wait, do you even have to step out? Yeah, that's pretty strong. Pretty cool. Increase maximum total under shield per second from which has been improved in mastery. Wait, what? It's already so. What? I guess this node sucks. I guess this cluster sucks, but this one's so good. And this one's in like a nice Stratophobe. Easy 20% increase maximum total ES recovery. I guess there's not that many other sources of that. That's cool. So they're also making leech better. Builds one of the best in both Vision and Energy Shield, rely heavily on Ghost Stance, require them to be a Trickster. What? Cannot recover energy shield to above a vision rating, so you have to have more. What? Here's the thing. You're probably like, they're gonna replace the Ghost Dance node with something else. And if you are trying to get a lot of both Evasion and ES, Trickster is still by far the best way to actually get that. Like, if you're trying to play an Occultist and you need to get 15k Evasion, like, good fucking luck. So like, you're probably still going to want to be a Trickster with this Keystone, but it just gives the option for other builds to do it as well. Yeah, like New Grace can help you get there, but like, then you're using a fucking defensive aura. You're already running Discipline. It's like you're running 2 defensive auras in CI. Like, good luck doing any damage. That's interesting though, and you know it's gonna be like a shadow start. Like, this node is literally gonna be right here. It's gonna be like off at this point. It's like, oh, here you go. Oh yeah, also hybrid builds too. Oh shit, that's gonna be cool for hybrid builds. Oh, that's actually gonna be so busted because so. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. Because you're never gonna spec aggro anymore because that keystone's gone for most threat type builds, in my opinion. So all of those random like Oh, that's gonna be so good. You can do like actual evasion ES gear. You can get like 1k evasion, just like 2k evasion, just like or sorry, ES. It's like a very small amount of ES, just enough that your evasion gets extra value. Oh my god, it's gonna be so busted. Dude, there's gonna be some crazy tanky characters. It really depends how hard it's gonna be to get 100% suppression. Like, I assume they're gonna change like spell dodge on chest and Aziri step boots. Those aren't gonna give spell dodge anymore, so I assume they're just gonna give suppression instead, right? Like, it really just depends how hard it is to get that. I'm just suppression is gonna be hard as fuck. I don't think it will be. Like, okay, it depends on your perspective, right? Because it just like, if you read this stuff up here, they talk about acro still existing because acro can give you 75 dodge instead of 50, which means it's possible to get 150 suppression. So if it's possible to get 150, it shouldn't be that insane to get 100. We'll see. Like, it's gonna be more effort to hit 100 than the 90% of people playing softcore trade are gonna bother to do, probably. But all these trees have fucking 240% life, man. If you want 100% suppression, you're probably gonna be able to get it. Yeah, Zai, it really is. Like imagine just being like 6k life, 2k evasion. Where's that ghost shroud at? With the ghost shroud, with the 100% suppression on the right side of the tree, like holy shit. But also remember, like they're removing, like I assume Fortify is talked about down here, but I'm still under the assumption that Fortify is gone. So like all of these builds lost Fortify. That might not be true, but like, you know, they have to compensate for that. We'll see. Let's run the investment with armor energy should have no mechanic. There's some synergy between the two. Oh shit, Inquisitor stonks. New custom passive called Divine Shield. Bubble Hearth baby. Presumes total physical damage prevented from hits. Recently is regenerated as energy per second. That's garbage. Recovery mechanics. Just play Inquisitor, who needs recovery? It is nice because this enables builds that are not Inquisitor to actually have ES recovery. Because right now it's like playing hybrid builds can be a little awkward with recovering your ES if you aren't an Inquisitor. Because like energy leech without Ghost Reaver is kind of like 10% a second. It's kind of eh. So this will be useful for some characters, not for any that I currently have POB'd. Some areas of the Pascal tree, the Shadow Area in particular, have no defense against damage over time effects. They said the same thing about Ranger. Yeah, the very little leverage is really annoying. Like when you're playing builds on the right side of the tree, even just getting enough sustain to run Blood Rage and not degen is like a pain in the ass. New keystone between Witch and Shadow area in the Pascal tree to heavily dampen the initial impact of damage over time. The initial impact, that's interesting. Let's see. That is a massive number of regen. Like the highest tier flat life regen mods are expected to be closer to almost 3% of your life. That's a lot of flat regen. Like right now, like T1, yeah, basing off 4K life softcore builds, probably basing it off, if I had to guess, like 6K life, I think, is expected. Like 6K is like 140%, and you're not using 8 uniques. You're only using 3 uniques. And you have at least crafted life on every gear slot. Like that's 6K life. So I think 6K is a pretty fair number. New keystone skill under the shadow area called, I don't know how to pronounce that. Something shade. You take 75% less damage over time if you started taking damage over time in the past second. Dude, I thought this was gonna say recently, and I was gonna fucking go crazy. Because then I'd be using Righteous Fire dowsing pots every 4 seconds, and I would hate myself. But it's only in the past second. I mean, that's still like pretty good for a lot of things, right? Like Shaper Beam. You get hit by the Shaper Beam for the first second, it doesn't do damage to you. Basically, you walk through like Legion Shaper Puddles, Elder Beam, Maven. Like if you're pathing by this node for like every current in-game boss fight, you're gonna take this node because there's a lot of degen in the game on boss fights. RF dowsing pot every second. You'd have to script to do that, I think, properly. And then you get banned. A few specific mechanics grant a lot of life regen, especially with endurance charge stacking. For many of the sources, life regen is not very powerful. That's because recovery is not defense. When you die instantly, almost always. This is nice for Petrified Blood builds. Yeah, it's nice. It doesn't affect like Petrified Blood's degen itself, because that's not degen, but Petrified Blood builds do struggle with degen mechanics, because you have half life and you have no compensation for degen defense. So yeah, that keystone is pretty cool. I think that'll see play on a few builds. Remove various sources of life regen per node charge or lower the values. Review effects that give life recovery rate and high values of life regen. Add new passes in the strength area that grant life regen. And one source of life regen rate. This seems like they're just like shuffling regen from being endurance charge stacking based to just being on the tree as a baseline. Which is good. Fuck endurance charges. Ever since they added these dumbass pathing nodes to charges in like 2014, I don't like expecting them. Because they used to just be a charge here. There wasn't this garbage in the way. It was just 1 point. And once you've had it that good, you can't just spend 2 points on a fucking charge. Shadow attackers don't have a form of life recovery they excel at. What? They have life leech, but life leech without overleech kind of sucks. Long investment in a combination of life on hit, life on kill, and life leech. Also includes a source of maximum total recovery per second life leech in the shadow area. How long until they give us Slayer Leech on the skill tree? They just gave us Ghost Dance on the skill tree. Give us fucking Slayer Leech on the skill tree. It's called Immortal Ambition. Alright, dude. Don't make me smell it. I hate Glorious Vanity, dude. Like, so many of my builds, I'm sitting here like, alright, how do I put Glorious Vanity in this build? And the answer is always like, here is like one of the only slots you can do that's not terrible. And like everywhere else is just like so much opportunity cost. Added new passive skill trees. Already read that. Witch and Shadowcasters don't have an accessible form of life recovery. Yep. Add new passive skill cluster to the area skill tree, between which long investment in life on kill. And no. No point finishing that. It's garbage. Block is fundamental form of defense available to characters, seeing as available on shield. The Gladiator ascendancy is far more efficient for block investment compared to the classes because of the Gladiator's versatile combat notable skill that grants as much spell block as you have attack block. Get fucked! Give everyone access to a weaker form of versatile combatant as a keystone passive and replace the Gladiator's ascendancy skill. Dude, like, this is funny because this is pointless. There's literally no reason to replace this. The moment you remove this, no one is specking fucking Painforged to get whatever garbage they put here, right? There's no way. You're just gonna go challenge charges. And if you're not going challenge charges, what are you doing with your life? Oh, what's he give? I give 2% to block spell damage for each 1% overcapped attack damage. Also grants what the fuck? What is going on here? Also makes your attack block cap 50. Yeah, like just don't invest in spell block and just go challenger charges instead. Like what you have to understand, this is a buff. It reads like a nerf, but like this existing means you play a character that does less damage and moves slower. This is a buff. Oh, this is the keystone? Oh fuck. Where's Glad? Make the gladiator's chance to block attack damage lucky. Oh yeah, fuck that, who cares? Like, no. I'm not, no. That's not happening. Why the fuck would I do that? I can get challenger charges. Alright, what? 10 Fizz DR, some charges, some damn challenge charges, like, who gives a shit? More access to spell block has been added between the Templar and Witch sections of the past tree. This is really interesting for my Necro build. Fuck Glads though. So modifiers like grant attack block and shields have been improved. Oh shit. 16 attack block, 15 spell block. Interesting. So lucky means 50% about 75? Yes. Yeah, it's only attack, but still, it's like, it's pretty busted for pure defense versus attacks. If it was lucky spell block too, it like pretty much wouldn't even be a nerf. But like that's some pretty insane attack defense. My Necro Builds! No! No! For the changes to passive trees and the life granted by Bone Offering. I think they're gonna make this percent instead of flat. They're gonna make it like 2% instead of flat life. So that way it's better for minions and worse for players. I wonder what number they would go with. 3%, do you think? I think if it was 5%, it would be like the same, right? Like 2.5% of 8k is how much? Like 200 or so? I guess 5% wouldn't be that busted. .4% 25 effect would make it 35. Now I'd make it 3. Because you have half effect on yourself. Nah, you read it wrong. Versatile lowers the cap of both, not only one. Attack block and spell block. So they're both kept at 50, which is interesting. It's like, how much can you actually get? I'm trying to think if I would ever use this keystone. Because like this whole area of the tree, at least the whole like top left, you usually end up with like even spell block and attack block on like a Necro, like right about 50 of both. Because you spec 3 block clusters, 2 that are spell block, and 1 that's dual block. Like up here we have, you know, you get, this is Stratophobe for Sanctuary, and then you get spell block, Bone Offering, and then you're just like right out 50 on both. But I wonder instead, like you said, if you roll 16 block on your shield randomly, and then you're sitting at like fucking 70 attack block, you could like drop the spell block nodes and spec that keystone instead and go 50 on both. But I feel like I would rather just keep the attack block at 70 and then have my spell block at 50, you know? Interesting. Pull modifiers available on shields include some that have values that are too low or aren't relevant to shields. Power level of shield modifiers in general are too low. I need context. Is this talking about life on block? Okay, let's find context. Yep, that's bad. Yep. They just straight removed all of them. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. A lot of these are pretty garbage. It'll be a lot easier to roll good shields with all this shit gone. I think this is suffix, suffix, prefix, 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 suffix, suffix, suffix. So it's like a decent split. But that will make it a bit easier to roll good shields. And they made it so you can get flat block and cell block to roll up to 16% and 15% respectively. That's pretty strong. Added a few impactful modifiers. They also added new modifiers. Ooh, here's one of the modifiers. Armor shields can now roll high values of reduced extra damage from crit, the value going up to 60%. Okay. Okay, shit. Alright, so you can get this one to go pretty high. I wonder where else it can go, though. And I wonder, would that be a prefix or a suffix? I assume it'd probably be the same as belts, which is a prefix. Oh, and it has crit tag. Oh shit. That makes it so easy to roll, right? Because it's armor-based shields. Armor-based shields don't have any crit tags at all on them anywhere. Shaper. Shaper still doesn't have crit tags, even on a Shaper shield when you're going for life on block. Also, percent life on block is being removed from the game entirely. I think flat staying. Yeah, that's real nice. But it is a prefix, which means you're not gonna have it on SSD. And flat life on block rolls up to 100. And armor hybrid shields can also roll life on block. That's kind of an... that's fine. But yeah, I really hope this stat gets added to more than just shields. But 60% if you're using an armor shield, pretty badass. You know what Build-A-Mon uses an armor shield? Perforate. I'm gonna slam a Woke Orb with Hunter, or what is it? Reduced reservation of skills socketed in the item plus 60% crit reduction. Pretty big. .34% suppression on evasion shields. Probably a prefix. The thing with spell dodge rolls prefix and suffix. Depending on what item slot it's on and if it's an attack or spell. Like it's coin flips. Like it's crafted prefix on chest, it's suffix on shield. And boots, I think it's suffix too. Yeah, shields are pretty juicy for sure. Oh, it is suffix? Okay. It being suffix is really good for suppress. I assume it'll probably be 34 on the chest too. I think hitting 100 suppress is going to be like pretty realistic. Because you have to understand, like, this side of the tree previously had super easy access to free 30 spell dodge, and then a lot of the ascendancies gave extra spell dodge, and by a lot of them I mean the only one, Raider. And then you had 1 unique pair of boots, and 1 chest. A crafted mod, and you were 75 spell dodge. And the point of this whole thing, like they said at the top, I'm almost at the bottom, is to massively buff defense. So the only way you could infer the changes to phase aggro plus crafted mods of spell dodge being a massive buff to defense is if you can realistically get 100% spell suppression. Or was there? Here? I read that. Okay. As a defense, blind was equivalent to an incredible high level evasion. Yep. It's minimal investment. Yep. Mandatory for all characters. Yep. Make blind synergy with evasion so that it's more powerful only if you have built a very... This is a fucking massive nerf to like every build that isn't evasion. So I really wonder what Alright, Fortify's at the bottom. I can't wait. Blind on causes targets to have less accuracy and evasion. Okay. Yeah, Saboteur defense is like in the gutter with this nerf to blind. Because 20% less accuracy is... I'm spitballing here, but on like a standard Sabo, I'm gonna say it's 80% worse, maybe 85% worse than blind. I think it's like 85% worse than blind. Effectively worthless. So like Sab defense before this was actually, it was pretty solid, just because blind was so powerful. But like Sabo is gonna need some help for sure. With that one being replaced. It's not just the mod of their enemies, it was incredibly popular. Yep. Flesh and Stone Sand Sense was really good on like every single build, and now that's gone for most builds. Probably all builds, honestly. Like, I haven't opened this yet, but if Flesh and Stone just gives this for 35% mana, like no shot you'd even consider that. It's garbage. You just run Grace instead, or 50. So reduce the cost, probably back to its pre 3.14 values of 25%, probably. Yep. Temperature shows 25% as well. It provides a large amount of spell block. So it used to give dual 3 block. This means they just don't have the number. But like, what is large? Because, I mean, think about the power that they just buffed the 50% auras to. Like, Grace and Determination are pretty large now. They're pretty large. Discipline gives like 1,500 ES. A 25% reserve? Like, it has to be double digits at least. But is it like 15? No, it's not an aura. Either way, this is like pretty decent. Fortify is intended as a defensive mechanic for being a melee character, but can be obtained by spellcasters using melee weapons that don't actually engage in melee. Okay, I'm shield charging through monsters. I'm literally punching them in the dick. If that's not melee combat, I don't know what is. Nice check mark. Change the Fortify mechanic so it's based on your melee damage. Okay. For experimenting with the system, let's Fortify be applied based on melee damage dealt, so the tiny little melee damage hits don't provide a full strength Fortify. Alright. I guess my hits are little. Inconsequential. This one will be able to introduce a chance to gain Fortify and hit on passive skills or items which have avoided in the past. Or working to avoid a system where every spellcaster wants to run shield charge to get Fortify at little cost. Well, okay, how about every spellcaster wanted to run shield charge because you fucking removed every other good movement ability. Fucker. Our eventual goal here is that all melee characters keep Fortify up reliably without a huge cost, while spellcasters and range characters won't access to the mechanic without significant investment or being a champion. So at least this confirms that champion is still going to exist in some way. with their fortify. Probably just the same, honestly. They can't leave it at 20? Why not? I think they could. Oh, you mean like... You mean Fortify as a whole, not as champion? Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, the Fortify nerfs, like, fucked up melee bad. But the thing is, they added extra max res nodes to the bottom left of the tree, and they're buffing armor by a ton. So if you're playing... If you have armor as a 2 melee character, your Molten Shell's gonna be bigger, Val Molten Shell's better, you can get a little higher max res. Like, there is some bright side. Also, a huge problem with 2 melee, I don't know, I assume you played it as ailment immune. Fit him in the big armor. My champion had 30k armor. Fuck yeah, dude. Champion Berserker. Defy Pain, let's get it. And Jug. They're gonna buff Jug, don't worry. But also, Champ is so good. Just play Champ, go low life, have permanent adrenaline, use Bloodthirst. It's like a 4-step process to guaranteed success. No Berserk. Don't worry, bro, I got you. Just Cyclone. just have Berserk. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good build. You made that? Oh, come on, dude. Everyone made that. So yeah, Fortify gone. So well, there's no specifics for a lot of the stuff because they don't have the numbers yet, and they say that up here in a few different things. Like they just don't have numbers yet. But the patch notes I assume will have that, so we'll see like in series step no longer gives 15 spell dodge, now it gives 20 spell suppression or some shit. And then we'll know maybe able to actually theorycraft. Vigilant Strike wasn't mentioned at all. Well, no. It didn't mention Vigilant Strike at all. So, like, what does this mean, right? Because, like, in my mind, if I'm playing a bow build, and I'm weapon swapping to a melee fucking weapon, and then I'm pressing Vigilant Strike, that's significant investment, because every time I do it, I hate myself a little bit more. Just like a little bit more, but it's a noticeable amount.